Hey guys, what's up and welcome back. All right, guys, happy Wednesday, happy hump day. We have a lot to talk about from Melissa and Joe Gorga, who are accused of owing $2.5 million, in a mortgage on their $500,000 home. Plus, we're hearing producers cut out a scene from Jennifer Aydin's talk with her daughter regarding Bill's affair. And that was to avoid backlash. Guys, there's a lot to unpack here. The cast is also kind of dissing each other. There's a lot. So before we jump in, if you guys haven't already, go ahead, smash that like button. If you're not subscribed, get subscribed. And don't forget to hit that notification bell because, well, you don't want to miss anything we have coming up. With that, let's jump right in.
It's time for all your binge-worthy pop culture news. Welcome to Up and Adam.
All right, guys, so let's start with Melissa and Joe Gorga, who are being accused of owing about $2.5 million in a mortgage on their $500,000 home. Bravo Snarkside came out and wrote, "Color me shocked. Radar Online is reporting that Real Housewives of New Jersey stars Melissa and Joe Gorga owe a staggering $2.5 million mortgage on their $500,000 home in Toms River, which they have recently listed for sale." Okay, in the article, it says, by Radar staff, Real Housewives of New Jersey stars Melissa and Joe Gorga just put their Toms River home on the market for $500,000. But RadarOnline.com has exclusively learned that the couple owes more than 4 times that on their mortgage. And it has documents, and it says, see Melissa and Joe Gorga's mortgage paperwork here. According to public property records obtained by RadarOnline.com from the Ocean County Courthouse, the Gorgas took out a $2.25 million mortgage on November 16th of 2007 with Sterling Bank plus interest. This mortgage is given as an additional collateral for a construction mortgage loan, the paperwork states. Melissa and Joe originally purchased the home for only $450,000 in 2005, in which they took out an initial mortgage of $360,000 and a secondary mortgage of $45,000. Okay, now it gets a little bit deeper too, guys, because we're also hearing that producers cut out a scene from Jennifer Aydin's talk with her daughter regarding Bill's affair to avoid backlash. Now, of course they did. On the most recent episode of The Real Housewives of New Jersey, things got emotional as Jennifer Aydin had to let her daughter Gabby know about the news regarding Bill Aydin's affair, and the scene was quite hard to watch. And they're saying on All About the Real Housewives that they learned exclusively that a lot was cut from that emotional scene. Our sources who are producers of the show tell us exactly it was extremely emotional for us to film that scene, as Gabby was visibly upset and had tears streaming down her face. She was very hurt, but we couldn't highlight her pain as much to avoid backlash on how things would look for Margaret and how the audience would react to this young girl in so much pain. For those who don't remember, after Margaret revealed the affair that Bill Aydin had about 10 years ago, she harshly stated that Jennifer's kids would get over it because children are resilient. It's also important to note that this is coming from a woman who isn't on speaking terms with her children. This is what they're saying. But, you know, Margaret, I have to stop this really quick because Margaret really, she sat on this information for a long time. And I understand, you know, the kids, and that's a hard situation to talk about. But Margaret also does talk to her kids, 1. And 2, it doesn't necessarily make it right, but Jennifer Aydin has called her a WHORE, has called her every name in the book. She's trashed her mom. She's trashed her book. And she's kind of led on like she had this holier than now, you know, relationship where there were no issues of infidelity or anything. I mean, she really went in hard on Margaret for quite some time. So Margaret finally turned around and was like, no, girl, if you're going to go in on me, then I'm going to go back in on you. We also learned on last night's episode that when Bill had his affair, Jennifer chose to forgive him and did not tell anyone in her family. So it has been difficult for her to explain this to family and friends. Now, that's not the only thing going on in the New Jersey world, because how could it be? We're also learning that Real Housewives of New Jersey cast is reacting to Louie's aggressive speech, as Melissa recalls warning, okay? And she's saying that it was a warning. And Teresa shades cast as nobodies. Plus, Margaret slams Teresa's lies. All right. Now, this is as per Reality Blur, but Margaret Josephs was taken aback by Louie Ruelas' behavior on the latest episode of The Real Housewives of New Jersey. After the two battled it out over Margaret's questions about the concerning warrior camp video Louie made prior to his relationship with Teresa Giudice, Margaret and her castmates reacted to Louie's aggressive speech as Melissa Gorga admitted that his statements definitely felt like a warning. He said to me, "You don't intimidate me on your best day." I was surprised. It's a very aggressive way to speak. This is what Margaret said on the March 2nd episode of, well, The Real Housewives After It show. "That's the only thing that sticks out in my head," Jackie Goldschneider replied. "I thought it was really aggressive, mean, and sort of like a warning shot. I didn't like it. I don't like women being spoke to like that." And Melissa agreed it was definitely a warning. Meanwhile, Teresa, who attempted to silence Louie amid her co-star's questions about the video, said her fiance doesn't owe anyone an explanation, especially not Margaret. She said, like, who the f is Margaret? The only person he needs to explain anything to, if I want an explanation, is me, Teresa stated. You don't have to explain yourself to these f***ing bitches. Like, who are they? Nobody. Ugh. Teresa also said she knew that once Louie opened his mouth, he was going to leave people with their mouth open. Dolores Catania and Jennifer Aydin also weighed in, and Dolores was noting that Louie was getting so frustrated because he wanted to explain himself, and Jennifer noted that the ladies of the show will take anything he says and use it against him. Jeez Louise, and it keeps going. During another segment of The Real Housewives of New Jersey after show, Margaret accused Teresa of lying to herself after watching as she and Louie arrived at their cast meeting as if she hadn't just blown up at a producer over their supposed efforts to spotlight Louie's past. She said, "I feel like at a certain age, you've got to stop lying to yourself. It would be so much more vulnerable and attractive if she said, I don't want anyone to think ill of my boyfriend. I really love him. This relationship is important to me," Margaret stated. She could have handled this totally different instead of being like on the attack, lying, and that's what made me sad. She's lying, that's exhausting for her. Melissa went on to point out that when Teresa arrived, she had no idea that her friend Jennifer had just thrown her under the bus and told everyone about the encounter with the producer. She said it was kind of funny to see her float in with Louie all happy, all dressed up. And we were all like, weren't you just screaming like 30 minutes ago? And I think she was in shock that Jennifer told us and everybody else about what happened. I mean, come on. I don't know. Guys, with this, there's a lot of information here and a lot to unpack. I mean, Melissa Gorga and Joe Gorga, when it comes to this $2.5 million mortgage on their home, on a $500,000 home, it does make me wonder, they probably took out this extra money to build their new home, and then they probably were going to reappraise that home and then pay off the mortgage, something to that effect. I don't know. It's kind of like, if that makes sense. I don't think that they're actually in a crazy amount of debt, which that sounds like a lot of debt because that technically a mortgage is debt, but I feel like they have this under control. As for Jennifer Aydin's filming scene with her daughter, Gabby, that is just terrible. I feel so bad for her daughter. You know, it's not her daughter's fault. It's Bill's fault. Bill was the one who had the affair. And, you know, Jennifer and Bill were the ones who decided to go on reality TV. Unfortunately, when you have skeletons in your closet, these things come out and the kids are impacted. I mean, how do you think the Giudice kids felt when they heard their dad talking about Teresa, when they saw their dad going to prison, when they saw their dad going, you know, getting deported, when they saw Teresa going to prison, when they saw Teresa trying to rebuild her life, when they saw Teresa's table flip? There is a lot of shit that these girls have seen, and it just comes as collateral when you're a child of one of these reality TV stars. I'm not saying it's right, but it definitely is what it is. Guys, go ahead and comment below. What are your thoughts? And before you go, don't forget to smash that like button. If you're not subscribed, get subscribed. And don't forget to hit that notification bell because, well, you don't want to miss anything we have coming up. With that, we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.